welcome to the show.
Hi, Rob. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I cannot wait. We're going to talk about all things growing young, all things Sergey. But first, I'm going to take you back to Russia. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So I want to talk about first growing up in the Soviet Union. And perhaps you can explain in what ways do you think that the way that you were raised has impacted the kinds of things that you're doing right now?
Okay. So I was born and I was living for my first 17 years. I'm 49 today, right now.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, not today. Sorry. It's in a month time. In a month time, I'm going to turn 50. So I'll have like 1/4 of my life completed. Okay.
1/4. Notice that. 1/4.
Yeah. So, so I was born, some people say they're from the middle of nowhere. I'm from the end of nowhere. Really. So my hometown was on the shore of Japanese Sea. It's far, far east of Russia, of USSR. It was like 200 miles across the sea to Japan. And it was 300 miles to regional capital, to regional center called Vladivostok. This is how far I went. So it was 50,000 people and just one big factory. And that's it. And it was Soviet Union. So I went to Moscow for my first degree to study at university back in 1989. Right in the middle of perestroika. But before that, it was literally like, there's no way I can go outside USSR, right? So like the dream at this time was to go to Hungary or Czechoslovakia or to Poland for 1 week, having like, $5 or $10 per day of allowance, followed in a group of people controlled by KGB agent. So that was like the dream. It was like to see the world. It was the definition of seeing the world, seeing other countries. And so here I am, 200 miles from Japan that I would never see in my life. And I had a huge map of the world in my room, which I shared with my younger brother. And like every evening after the school and doing all the homework and housework, I would just really traveling through this kind of world map. I was fascinated by 200 countries around the world, looking at, but the most fascinating countries for me was like the smaller European countries like Vatican, Liechtenstein, San Marino, Monaco. I couldn't really imagine like living on a country which occupies 1/5 of the land on this planet. I couldn't really imagine what kind of country is that, which has such a small land area? That was my, it's just kind of sweet memories from my childhood. So early on, I really started to appreciate every opportunity to see something new, which is like outside my current context. And this is where I think, I grasped this whole, constant learning, constant discovery mindset. Like every time, so I've done 3 degrees in my life: chemical engineering, banking and insurance, and business administration. At a certain point of time, I thought of like doing a 4th degree, like political science in one of the US universities. But then I basically decided like writing the book is like almost like the 4th degree, but from a different angle. And that was it. What else? This is very interesting. So when I arrived to Warwick Business School for my 3rd degree in business administration, so I took like notebook with me, notepad. And the whole idea of notepad, I was just expecting that they will tell me all the answers, how to manage the business. Like, Sergey, well, here's the only and right theory of how to manage people, and the rest is just not working. So this whole binary definition of the world, this is right, this is wrong, was very, it was from communist times. And it's funny, the first module in Warwick was organizational behavior, like the most complex, the most divided area of science, management science. And they were like, well, guys, we're going to talk today about different theories of how to motivate people. And we'll look only at 7 of them. And they all work in combination. So you need to look at this issue from different angles. I was so amazed at how complex and diverse the world, and I was so against like the values that I grasped during my communist past. But obviously, I'm from the very poor family, and for some of the people, like becoming adult is a process. For me, it was just one phone call. When I turned 18, it was my 2nd year in Moscow, and my mom called me and said, "Sergey, we lost, it's perestroika, we lost our jobs. And it's not us sending you, some money every month. It's going to be you taking care of the family and your younger brother." And I started to work full-time and study full-time from the age of 18. And this is what I'm doing.
Well, I tell you what's interesting to me. I set a goal, and my goal was to live to 130 years old. And everybody thought I was crazy until I met a guy like you that says, no. 130 is a little bit too young, my friends. My goal is 200. So my first question is, how did you arrive at the number 200? Why 200?
Okay, so 2 angles. One is, I just want all of us to be clear about this. Living to 200 is completely irresponsible promise in the context of where we are today with science and technology. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the maximum lifespan on Earth was 122, and I'm pretty sure in the next 10-20 years, within the near horizon of longevity innovations, we're gonna get a lot of technologies, and we can discuss the fields like where it will come from, like gene editing, gene therapy, organ regeneration, to break this sound barrier of 122 years of maximum lifespan. But like as of today, there's no way we can extend our life beyond 120 years. So that's one. I'm sorry. Then how did I arrive to this number? So for so many of us, my discovery path and discovery road in the field of health and longevity started with the personal health crisis. That's the unfortunate reality. It's not about carrots, it's about sticks all the time. Like we face something dangerous, bad for our health or the health of our loved ones. And then we start like, oh my goodness, this whole thing exists. I need to manage that. I need to take responsibility for my health and my longevity as well. So, and because of that, I always had a lot of ideas of how all of us can change our life to become a healthy and happier person. And this is what we can do right now. Like if you look at the book, that's the bonus chapter, which is twice as long as any other chapter in the book. It's actually dedicated to 10 longevity choices of today. But then when I started to communicate, to share it with the world, people, and it's all simple stuff. It's like early diagnostic, using the power of wearables, right? Seeing your doctor and doing medical screening every year, diet, physical exercise, mindfulness and meditation. The overall reaction was always like, well, Sergey, my mom told me that. It's so boring. So then I developed like this, like on a second horizon, right, to live to 150. And again, this is all kind of gene editing, longevity in the pill, everything which we'll see in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So I can see that people started to be a little bit more interested in it. And they're like, okay, I can see the future. And now I have a reason to work with my today, because I see the goal. I see where we go, and I see the opportunity and opportunities in life extension technologies and digital health in the next 10, 20 years. So then I thought, like 150, right? It's not really ambitious. Like 122 is there, like 150 is only incremental change. And I'm insecure overachiever. Like every time I achieve something, I'm like, okay, this is done. Book, Wall Street Journal bestseller, USA Today bestseller, #1 Amazon in 3 categories. Boom. It takes 5 minutes for me to adjust to this reality. And I'm like, go in next. Like some people think it's great. It's not that great all the time. You cannot really celebrate your successes. So I thought, if I'm going to live to 150 years, I would just say, okay, Sergey, just like 28 years more than the maximum lifespan on Earth. It's not really satisfying. So I just put the bar higher to 200 years.
That makes perfect sense.
Led to development of the far horizon of longevity innovation, because to live beyond 150, we would need to redefine humans, to integrate with machine. And that's like a different horizon, right? It's a different ethical and technological dilemmas as well.
Okay, so let's dissect that down a little bit. You've mentioned that we're on the brink of a longevity revolution, and that it's possible now to reverse age, as well as treat incurable diseases. Can you paint a picture of how you see that happening? I know that you mentioned right now that, where we are, like I listened to an interview with someone I'm sure that Ray Kurzweil. And,
sure.
He said, look, where we are right now, we're not going beyond 122 years, but where we're going to be in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years, if I can just get myself there, then I can create the longevity. And I think that is what you're trying to do now as well. So can you sort of paint a picture for me of how you see yourself stepping your way to 200?
Okay, great question. So it's a little bit like with HIV, right? When few decades ago, people got HIV, like the first strategy was to buy some time, to slow down disease for at certain level. So then in the course of like 10, 20 years, we can develop the cure against that. Well, that's our current, it's a metaphor, right? That's our current strategy with aging. We all know after turning 50, and when aging process starts in our body around 40 or 45 years, our chances to die from age-related diseases are exponentially increasing. Like after 50, 90% of deaths is cancer, heart disease, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases. That's it. So we all know that aging is bad for our health. So what we do now, we just need to stay on longevity bridge for the next 10, 20 years. What it means that using the best of today's technology, environment, and lifestyle changes to stay at healthy and happy state. So then in 10, 20 years time, when we have all the benefits of technologies and scientific discoveries from near horizon of longevity innovation, we can apply it to us. Like, because if you're going to be like really, in a really bad shape in 20 years from now, Rob, like your body and mind would not be really worth extending its resource. Okay, so it is very important not to just sit and wait for the future, but just make sure you live in, you are working on your health every day with your everyday choices, your everyday routines, right? Your relationship with healthcare, use of variables, right? Supplements, whatever you want.
All right, I'm gonna stop you there, Sergey. So I want to make sure that I'm tracking. So what you're saying is, where we are right now, we're not going to get to 100, and we're not getting much beyond 122. But what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are in the best health that's possible, so that when we hit those markers, that in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, where we can go to the next level, that we want this vessel to be in the best shape possible in order to catapult into the next whatever technology has for us at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So that's one. So two is, I noticed that you got your pills that you're taking. Show me that. Show me what you got there. What's in there? Let's walk through that. What's in that little thing there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, supplements. The good news about supplements, they all have placebo effect. So if you believe, they work. Like 30 or 40% of the impact is placebo. I'm typical placebo man. I'm like, if I think something is working, like it's really working. There was just a lot of study around placebo effect. In fact, when you look to, if you look to like pharmaceutical industry, there are a number of studies where placebo was really competing with the actual drug tested. Like placebo group showed exactly the same result. Like, it's unbelievable. Like the power of thoughts are unbelievable. So what do I have here? One, I do have particularly high cholesterol level. This is my personal health crisis that I had back in 2014. This is not dramatic. Like 32% of Americans are suffering from the same issue. So therefore, I'm taking omega-3.
Yep.
Should be like the most power, highest quality omega-3. This is really important. What else? My diet is heavily plant-based. I do eat meat and fish. I'm not religious about this whole thing, but therefore, I just need a little bit more fats. So I'm taking, I think it's flaxseed oil as well. What else? Garlic is really important for your vessels health and your heart health. And we live in a world where garlic supplements, they odorless, right? So you don't need to build a social distance after you take took garlic supplements. So that's great.
No, we just need to social distance for COVID.
That's true.
What is your wearables? It looks like you have a Whoop on your right hand. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. I just wanted to finalize thing. It's just a lot of different, like I have seaweeds on rotation, like within the 6 months, every month, I'm taking a different kind of seaweeds, right, in form of supplements. And from longevity supplements, I would prefer NMN. I'm taking the sublingual version of it because I do believe the absorption rate from NMN in sublingual form is just better when you just take it inside. But it's just the beginning, right? If you go to sergeyyoung.com, you can like download the infographic called 10 longevity supplements. And there's part in the book dedicated to that. So wearables.
Yeah.
With the world of the future, we're all going to be full of sensors. Like you've heard the concept of Internet of Things, where, all the things like a car, fridge, I don't know what, like interconnected.
Yep.
The future we'll have Internet of Bodies. We're all going to be full of sensors. All our sensors going to be connected to a decentralized AI-run system, which would manage our health, monitor and manage our health, prevent diseases, cure diseases, etc. So that's how it will look like in the next 20 to 40 years. That's what I call Internet of Bodies, similar to Internet of Health. So I'm this small kind of example of that. And I'm trying to recreate it. Think about this. So you drive in a car. A lot of us drive in the cars. Like, think about how many sensors we have in this car. Like today, the car, like it's just not impossible for a car to brake on the road. Like there's always like a signal, right? A sensor helping to you. We invested so much money into like health in the cars. The same thing will happen with our own health. So that's the metaphor for you. So variables. What do I use? One. Apple Watch. Frankly speaking, I actually think like you should be agnostic to wearables. Like if you like Fitbit, Garmin, Whoop, Halo, this is great. If it works for you, this is perfect. Right now we call them wearables. In 2-3 years time, it's going to be called our personalized healthcare devices. They will track and monitor our health. They will prevent a lot of problems, and they can do it even today. So Apple Watch, from all the future largest healthcare companies on earth, which in 10 years going to be called Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. And by the way, I'm not saying this is good or bad, right? We all have our own issues with big tech power in this world. I actually think Apple has like the biggest chances to disrupt healthcare space. The healthcare of the future is not extension of healthcare that we know today. It's going to be new players doing completely new things. And we're going to have data-driven, technology-based version of healthcare. And this is our personalized healthcare device. So Apple is investing heavily in health. And that's why if you look at the recent version of Apple Watch, it can detect like 5 different types of irregularities in your heart rhythm. You can fall down in the street. It will call ambulance for you. You can use this to do electrocardiogram, to measure blood oxygen in your body, and on and on. I mean, all they need to add is like blood pressure monitor and glucose monitor, which I have separately here. And that's it. This is like 95% of the data you want to have on daily, on like hourly basis about your own health. So that's all right. So
here's what I got. I've got levels, which is probably what you have here.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I got levels in there.
Hardware.
Yeah. I've got Whoop that's telling me how much sleep I'm not getting. I've got Apple Watch that's telling me everything that you said, but and it's also giving me data that I moved from Los Angeles to Florence, and I spent, I don't know, in living in Hermosa Beach in LA, I probably did 5,000 steps a day, something like that. Nothing too impressive. I am averaging 20,000 steps a day living here in Florence. Averaging, like I'm not even trying, like it's just happening, right? And then I've got this thing, a sponsor. They wanted some promotion, so I gave it a shot, and I've been hooked ever since. There's something called 8 Sleep. Have you heard of this? 8 Sleep.
No.
It's a bed.
Tell me.
Guy. All right. So this guy turned the mattress. He said, look, everything has gotten smarter, but the mattress. The mattress is still the same stupid piece of foam that I've been sleeping on ever since I had a mattress. So what if I took the technology of Whoop and I put it into a mattress? So it will give you all the biodata that you can get from all the wearables while you're sleeping on it at night. But in addition to that, you could set the temperature. You can get the bed as cold as you want it or as hot as you want it. It's got a little vibration device, so it'll wake up one side of the bed on a scale of 1 to 10, whatever time you want to wake up. Because he interviewed people and he said, "What's the 2 things? What are the top things that people don't like about their mattress?" First one was that it was cold, and the second one was that when they woke up, they had to wake up both parties because the alarm clock was loud.
Yeah.
But my point is that we're living in a world where the devices are on everything. I mean, we're just getting constant feedback. So we are primed, I think, to live the life that you're describing that we're going to live. So when I talked to a buddy of mine, I said, I want to live to 130. And he said, why? And I said, because I don't want to leave. He said, well, where's the number for you where it's long enough? And I was really stuck. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you want to outlive?
I have a view on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a view on that. So like we have this binary idea, like I'm either going to be mortal and then I need to have my horizon, like 130 years or 200 years, like Sergey Young, right? Or it's immortality. But then, so like from everything I know about longevity space today, our life is not going to look like one day you need to decide whether you live in 130 years or you're going to live in forever. Our life will be series of life extension decisions every 3, 5, 7 years. Okay. So every, let's say 5 years, you will need to make a choice whether you want to stay on this planet in this condition, given the new developments of technology, given like where we are in terms of technological breakthroughs and scientific discoveries. And that's it. So it's not like you need to decide now. You're going to define your own horizon. And So
Well, I'm gonna.
it's again, it's a series of life extension decisions. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question you don't know. I don't think you're going to know the answer to, but if you say, I'm done, I've gone as far as I want to take this thing for whatever reason that you don't know what you don't know, and you make a decision, I want to leave. How do you leave? Do you just not extend your life, or do you intentionally end it with like a doctor-assisted suicide kind of thing, or how do you see that playing out?
So that's one of the chapters in my book, like the last chapter called Morality of Immortality. And
great name.
Yeah. So the biggest problem now we have here, like in 20 years from now, the biggest obstacles to life extension is not going to be science, not going to be technology. It's going to be human ethics and regulation. And if you look at ethical issues, which are around life extension, immortality, longevity technologies, one of them is this whole decision making on whether you're going to live or you're going to die. Because in today's world, your decision not to extend your lifespan, which you're going to do like every 5 or 7 years, whatever the number is called suicide. It's called playing God. Okay.
Yep.
And that's the problem. So we need to have like the whole ethical debate before we can even embrace this whole idea. And we obviously would need to rethink, our view and paradigm around death and how we arrive to that. Well, the most interesting thing is, like, even if this is socially acceptable, my own concern, I'm a relatively strong man, right? My own concern, like, will I have a bravery to make this decision? I don't know. But there's so many ethical questions related to us living longer. So it's almost like we need to have this conversation now, not in 25 years from now.
Right. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about mindset. You've said that the way that you think is the way that you age. What do you mean by that?
So, if you look at, it's actually called Think and Grow Young in a book. And I kind of like this choice of title for one of the subchapters. So what's academics discovered, that if you have your psychological age lower than your chronological age, your body and mind responds to that. So I'm priming myself. Well, let's look at my example. Like, every morning I wake up, and my motto is that I'm pronouncing inside my head is, Sergey, you're going to live 200 years in a body of 25 years old man. So my target psychological age is 25. Okay. So, like, from 49 to 25, whatever the outcome of, age reversal will be, I'm kind of cool with that. Right. So this is great. And our body responds to the power of our thoughts. And there were a number of experiments, number of studies, some of which they're really fascinating. I explain it in the book. When they changed the whole settings in the senior living to mimic the design, and actually I think they took away mirrors, the design to remind like 60s or 70s from the last century, when people were young, who are living there now, and they look at their biomarkers, they actually became younger. Well, this is how it works. Like, so what you need to do, this whole concept of age is changing right now. Like 20 years ago, like, it was just only one age. You look at the passport and then you define your calendar age, chronological age as well. So now we're looking at a number of different definition of age. Like what we discussed with you is our psychological age. Like, when people ask me, I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm 35. Okay. So, but I have my target psychological age. Like, I want to feel like 25. I might not get there at all, but it's just healthy difference between my chronological age of 49 years and like 25 years as a target. But there's something else. It's called biological age, which is basically you measure the set of biomarkers, like from the blood draw, if you want, 20 to 40 different indicators. And then artificial intelligence define with these biomarkers, what is the standard in today's like society or in your geography or in the world? Like, people with these numbers, what is their chronological age? And it tells you. and it's called biological age. Okay, it's like biological clock. So for example, let's look at my numbers. I'm 49 chronologically. I'm going to turn 50 in a month from now. So my biological age is 43. So if you look at my biomarkers, the way my body works, I'm 43. And then my psychological age is like 35. You ask me, like, Sergey, like, how do you feel, like, what age? I'm like 35. That's it. But the beauty of this differences in different ages is, like, if you set up pretty ambitious age goal, your body will respond to that. And actually, not only your body and your mind, but like all your practices, all your daily decisions will kind of try to fit that. You'll put more focus on physical activity, right? Like this 10 or even like 20,000 steps a day that you do measured by your variables, right? Your diet choices, your level of cortisol, etc.
So, okay. So there's a few things. I just turned 55 last week, and there are some things that I've done over the course of the last year that have made a measurable difference. But one of them I want to bring up, and I want to ask you your thoughts on it. I decided to start taking testosterone. And it wasn't because I wanted to get bigger. I have plenty of muscle on me. I didn't want to take anabolic steroids and be like, those guys in the gym. I wanted to take testosterone because biologically, my numbers were, when I'm 20 years old, when I was 20, my testosterone was around 1,000. And at 55, it was around 300 or 400. So evolutionarily, there was no need for me to have that high level of sex drive and energy. It just wasn't. So it came out of me, right? That sort of, those levels got reduced. So when I went to the doc, he said, I remember I listened to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he said, look, if you're a man and you want to feel great, take testosterone. You're just going to feel incredible. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll just do it. So didn't notice anything for about a month or two. By the third month, I felt like a new human being. Like I had sex drive that I didn't have since I was probably 16. It was actually too much. It was actually getting in the way. The level of mental clarity, focus, drive, everything. So replacing those hormones from where they were dropping to where they are. Now in Italy, I had to bring all the testosterone with me. So once a week, I give myself a shot in the ass. And in 48 hours, I feel like, and if I don't do it, oh my God, like I feel old. So is there anything like that you're doing from a chemical standpoint where you're trying to replace numbers that are dropping like I'm doing with testosterone?
Well, first of all, I'm not MD, right? I'm just a fellow biohacker, like longevity investor who are really interested in the aspect of human health and doing a lot of changes on my own. So I have more balanced view on hormonal therapy and replacement. So few thoughts here. And again, it might sound a little bit naive in medical professional terms. I do think one of the most difficult thing to do and to influence in your body is the hormonal balance. And once you disbalance that, it might be really difficult to put it back. So I think we just need to realize once we are starting the journey of testosterone, like hormonal supplementation, one of the scenarios that we might need to live on that till the rest of our life. So that's kind of one thing, because once you withdraw from this routine, your body might lose an ability to produce that in a normal way because naturally it's like going from outside. That's kind of one thing. So second thing, I do believe that there are a number of lifestyle interventions who can help you to manage your testosterone level. It's never going to be to the level of when you were or I were 20 years old, but I'm pretty sure like dietary changes and sleep, one of the most important clinic for all of us in terms of the hormonal balance, can give you the same kind of boost and spike and feeling as well. I do remember back in 2019, I had a lunch with a man who became a very good friend, Dr. Jake Cradle from London. He runs a longevity clinic in London. He's a founder of that, or one of the co-founders. And I usually ask start with question like, Jack, like, what is the number one thing? Like, what is the one thing that you would do for longevity and health? And he started with, Sergey, every night we have an opportunity to visit the most powerful clinic in the world with sleep, which actually comes back to your story about 8 sleep and measuring the sleep, and the influence of this whole sleep agenda. So I do believe that there are more harmonious way to influence that, not probably to the extent and to the level and to effect that you're getting, but yeah, you can. There are more than one option to influence that.
So check this out. So with Whoop, I noticed that I was not getting into deep sleep for more than 20 minutes. It wasn't much. And I tried. I went blackout curtains. I air conditioned the room. I took a hot shower before bed. I didn't eat. Like I went down the list of everything. Nothing made a difference. The moment I started taking testosterone, I went from 15 minutes to 2 hours of deep sleep on the Whoop. Think about it. When you're 16 years old, your mother and father, they can't get you out of bed because you're going into deep. You have 4 children. Like you're like, get your ass out of bed, stop sleeping, because that's what happens at that age, right? So you've talked a lot about limiting beliefs, and you're clearly.
Can we just finalize? Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
If you look at my Whoop, I'm getting 1 hour 30, 1 hour 40 minutes every night. I'm 49.
In
so
deep.
Like, in deep sleep. Yeah, sure.
That's great.
This is
that's really really good.
This is great. So what really helped me is meditation.
What kind?
Funny it sounds. Yeah, every meditation is you basically the moment of silence in your mind, and you can achieve it through you can do TM, right? Like I'm using nails. Like I bought this thing with nails where you stand on that and you meditate for 30 or 40 minutes. I took it from Shaolin Monastery in China.
You really are a nut job. You're lying on a bed of nails, Sergey?
No, I'm not. I'm standing on that.
You're standing on a bed of nails? Yeah. That still sounds crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah.
Why?
That's
why?
Yeah, but to meditate, well, it's completely different feeling. It just re-energize you. For meditation, you can use calm, you can use headspace, you can just sit silent, or Japanese, you can just walk in the park for 1 hour. So that's kind of one thing. And the other one is neurofeedback, similar to what Dave Asprey does in his 40 years of Zen. And there's a number of neurofeedback clinics. After 10 visits to neurofeedback clinic, the deep sleep improved significantly with me. You're just becoming a really calm, balanced version of yourself. So I think, look, human biology is so complex that it's very difficult to connect the dots. Always difficult. It's always complexity of the things. I think my point is I kind of like everything you're doing, but my job is to say there's number of alternatives that you can take a look at this, and they might produce similar result. Not 2 hours, but hour and a half, etc. That's my only point. But I interrupted you.
No.
Limiting beliefs. Yeah,
we're going to get to limiting beliefs, but you brought another thought in my mind. What about? Have you heard of something called New Calm? Do you know about this? New Calm. So
I think I've seen it somewhere on Instagram. Yeah,
crazy.
I haven't heard about this. Yeah,
crazy. You take a GABA patch, you put it on your wrist, and you put earbuds in your ears, and in 3 minutes, you cannot keep your eyes open. You are in a deep trance that you cannot. I'm telling you, Sergey, if this interview was your gift to get New Calm. Get it? put the GABA patch on, you subscribe to the membership.
Yeah.
It's not expensive. And you choose 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, whatever you want to do. And you go into a theta state faster than I've ever seen in my life. You can't control it. You are gone. You're drooling in the corner. It's amazing.
I love it. How do you spell it, Rob?
N-U, new word, calm. New, calm.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Okay, limiting beliefs. You are a positive guy. You're a positive mental attitude kind of guy. You speak things into existence is my interpretation. So how much does our limiting beliefs affect our lifespan?
Well, I think, I mean, if you look at the choices that we have around beliefs, it's obviously like plus or minus 20 years within the reach. Okay. So if your setup is on the negative side, right? Or you have, limiting beliefs, not empowering beliefs, you might easily live up to 20 years, less on this planet. And or empowering beliefs can bring just another up to 20 healthy and happy years to your life.
So just by thinking positively?
Not really. Thoughts are not, they're just not in isolation, right? Your thoughts, becoming your, daily habits and your daily choices, your action, your areas of focus as well. Like, so for example, look at limiting beliefs that we have around our health, right? One is like, I would need, if I'm sick, I would need to have a medication to become healthier. Okay, well, that's our limiting belief. We forgot about the power of our body to heal itself. Okay, I'm not saying our body can heal ourselves from like every disease, but for some of the things, just changing your lifestyle, your diet, right, your routine can cure a lot of things, like type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disease. I know a lot of people who cured themselves from that, just changing their lifestyle. So like our empowering belief is like our body has this amazing ability to cure itself, to support your health action plan. And we need to rely on that. So that's kind of one thing. Second thing, if disease is not manifesting itself, I don't need to take care of my health. So what we do is just wait until like stage 4 cancer, disease manifests itself. We go to doctor and doctor is like, well, it's stage 4 cancer, recovery rates are anywhere between 9 and 23%. While if your empowering belief, like I need to be proactive, preemptive about my health. So it's not like when I need, I go to doctor, then I don't need to go to doctor. This is where I'm visiting my clinic. This is where I'm doing my medical screening, my health checkup. And this is really important, right? Then some other like limiting beliefs, like I need to work with doctors to cure symptoms. Like the empowering belief, I need to look at the origin of what is happening inside my body. I need to be on the integrated, like a health action plan, right? Going through everything, like physical activity, my life choices, my balance, like sense of happiness, diet, physical activity. And this, in turn will help my body to be in a healthy state. And this whole, and finally, food is medicine, right? I'm not going to talk about this one. This is pretty clear, at least hopefully for you and this audience. This whole neglection of connecting between mind and body. Like, think about this, like in 9 out of 10 cases, when someone is talking about health, the whole discussion is about physical health. But mental health is equally important, and it's all connected. Like, there's no way you will have a healthy brain in unhealthy body, and vice versa. So, well, that's the empowering belief. If I'm healthy mentally, I need to work on that as well. in addition to working on the health of my body. And I can go on and on.
No. That's really good, because limiting beliefs, I love the way that you're phrasing the limiting beliefs, because it's not so much that it is a negative belief, but it's not in the negative belief, let's say about yourself, like, I can do it. It's more like a negative belief about taking control of your health and finding the cause of, what the problem is, as opposed to just leaving it to a doctor. Those kinds of limiting beliefs, people don't even think are limiting beliefs. They just say, well, this is the way it is. If I get sick, I go to the doctor and the doctor tells me what's wrong with me. But you're saying, yeah, but that's a belief. So I love that. I want to talk to you about what a previous podcast guest called soft targets. I don't remember who named it, to be honest, but she called it soft targets. And it's more about not the, sort of the hard biomarkers that we see. We have high cholesterol and, there's high fat, whatever. And I personally made a decision to leave an environment in America that did not feel to me to be happy, exciting. It was filled with all the things that we see on television. At first it was the riots in LA, where they basically burned down LA. Then it was, then we had COVID, and then we've got the Democrats and the Republicans that are fighting with each other.
Wildfires.
It was, it ended where my home in LA backed up to a school. And one day we heard what we thought, we didn't know what was happening, but they were, the school on the intercom was saying, get under the table, get under the table. And we thought there was something that happened. And it turns out that they were doing a shooter drill, and they were preparing the children that if a shooter comes in, how to hide under the table. And that was it for me. I said, I'm done. I have a 7-year-old daughter. And I said, I can't live this way anymore. So we did a lot of research, and we decided to move to Florence. And we've been here now for about a month and a half. And I am noticing that in this short month and a half, things are changing for me. My weight is going down. Little chest pain of stress that I used to have is gone, doesn't exist. My sleep is deeper. The quality of sleep is better. And I can go on and on and on. My joy and happiness for the way that I'm living my life is at a level that I've never quite experienced before. My connection with other human beings are deeper. So my question is, what are your thoughts on and I'm choosing America only because I lived in America. There are people listening to the show all over the world, and people in Italy may agree with me, and people in Australia may disagree, whatever. But what are your thoughts about your personal environment? When I think about the blue zone, and I think about places like Sardinia in Italy, where it's the second highest area for centenarians in the world, outside of Okinawa, there's a reason that people are living to well into their hundreds and fully functional. What are your thoughts about your place having an effect on longevity?
Yeah, so there's a lot of contradictions around blue zone as a concept, like statistics behind that. But I do believe the environment defines our longevity chances, and it heavily influences the physical and mental health. So think about the places like Sardinia, right, which is not far from you. Yeah. So it's also, or it's Okinawa or Sardinia, any other island. So number one, it's an island, right? You are in isolation, and you are part of relatively small community of like 200, 400, like 1,000 people, right? You are not in a huge city like LA or New York or Hong Kong or Moscow. So that's important. Like a social connection is really different. Like, the neighbors, they will always support you during your bad time, and you have an opportunity to give back as well. So it's not one way road. So second thing, it's always very close to the ocean or to the river.
Mm.
And so you have disproportionately higher chances to get wild fish and a protein not from the animals which were grown on industrial farms with antibiotics, with growth hormones, with E. coli bacteria, but something you can catch from the river or from the ocean. So that's important, and that's actually your more focus on receiving proteins from fish and seafood rather than from animal meat. So that's important as well. Then if you look at terrain, is it terrain like the way this whole thing structured? You can really like in US,
topography.
Yeah, topography of the place. Thank you. So like it's not like in US, you just sit in the car and you drive like wherever you want. Yeah, like CVS or in a park. I mean, you need to walk all the time. Like at best, you can use bicycle, and that's it. Okay. Otherwise, you're just using like the way you move from California to Firenze to Florence, right? You're walking because like it just literally like in the center of Florence, it's almost impossible to own the car. So you end up with just walking, all the time.
Yep.
So that's just another things. And so our environment, so we can recreate this kind of longevity environment in our home, and that's it. And it's some other choices too, which was not in the book about blue zones, but you can take like just deciding not to listen to the news, right? Not to be like because one of my friends they said CNN is constantly negative news. So like they just wired you. They increase the level of your cortisol. That's it. While like why do you need to be like up to date with what is happening in the world? If this is important enough, this information will find you.
Always. I eliminated when I moved here, I said, okay, if you're going to move to Florence, don't take America with you in your phone. So get rid of all the NPRs and all the YouTube subscriptions that you're doing. That's just reinforcing the crazy. So I deleted it. At first I was like a heroin addict wanting to get another bump to make sure I can, but then after a while, it became normal. And now I feel quite disconnected from it in a good way, a very happy way. But to your point, if the world is blowing up, somebody is going to say, hey, look, the world's on fire. You need to look this way. So somebody is going to tell me. So, okay, well, look, as we, wow, I can't believe it. We reached the end of our hour here. Time flew by. I'm going to do a quick rapid fire round with you. Just answer as quickly as you like, or as in detail as you want. But basically, it's a first thing that comes to mind round. What would your friends say is your superpower?
Loving the winter. I like when it's like I have a lot of problems around me and I'm like gladiator, I can solve all of them.
I love that. Great metaphor. Do you collect anything, or have you ever collected anything?
Yes, great people in my life. I'm collecting role models. And like just one thing on here, like when we were young, like the only way to learn from someone would be to be next to him or to her. And we live in a beautiful play, like in a beautiful moment of time today. You don't need to know the person. You just you can look on YouTube, right? You can sign up for their course. You can read their book. So like it's just amazing opportunity to bring more and more people inside your life.
I love that. What do people never ask you, but you wish they did?
Yeah, the questions that this is where we started our conversation about my childhood and how like really difficult it was, but how important it was in terms of like shaping me as a person.
Great. What book have you reread the most?
Do I have it here? Essentialism by a very good friend, Greg McKeown.
Oh, it's a great book. It's a great book.
Amazing. And he's an amazing guy. He's father of 4 as well, actually.
No kidding. Just paring it all down, right? Just getting down to the simplicity of it all. What is your guilty pleasure?
It's ice cream.
Ice cream. I just had some gelato. It's 5 o'clock here at night, and I went out for a date.
Jealous.
I went out for a date with my wife, and we went to a wine tasting, and we had some gelato. So, what is one thing that you own, and you probably should throw it out, but you're not going to do it?
My smartphone.
That's a good one. Okay, last question. We're going to change it up a little bit. What one question would you like to ask me?
Okay, so just a little bit of pretext. Like, I'm always the guy with delayed happiness. Like, my happiness moment is always in the future.
Yep.
How do you manage this whole art of being happy today, Rob?
It's really simple. I believe that contrast creates clarity, and I spent so many years of my life doing exactly what you described. When I sell the company, I'm going to be happy. When I write the book, I'm going to be happy. When the kids go to college, I'm going to be happy. And after you live enough years, you realize it's complete bullshit and it's a lie. And all you have is the moment. So every single day, I decide, what is it that I'm going to do to be happy and present today? And my life is built around things that I enjoy. I don't do anything that I don't want to do. If I'm not passionate about it, I don't do it. And I am going to enjoy every single moment of my life, but I'm intentional about it. So I do weekly planning on Sunday, and I plan the week. I pick the restaurants that we're going to go to during the week. I pick the date night that we're going to go to, the wine tasting that we're going to go to, the weekends. Last weekend, we were in Venice. Next weekend, we're going to be in Milan. All of that is pre-planned. Today, I was on the phone with somebody booking Francescana Osteria, which is Massimo Bottura's restaurant. She was up early for me because it's only one day for 5 minutes that you can get into this thing. The point is that I am intentional in the same way that you wear the Whoop and you wear everything. I am intentional about stacking my life with things that I love. So I can't help but be happy. I can't delay the satisfaction because I got the gelato in my mouth right now.
I love it. That's an amazing answer. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Thank you.
All right, brother. This was awesome. We're going to link everything up in the show notes. Do you have any final words, suggestions, or an ask for the people that are listening?
Yeah. So read the book. It's just an amazing introduction to the world of longevity and our life choices, which is driven by the fact that we're all going to be living longer or radically longer. Stay healthy and happy. Go to sergeyyoung.com, sign up for our newsletters, and enjoy your life.